Coming to you live from deep within a windy and grassy and dry and mosquito-y and very mosquito-y radioactive wasteland. We are the survivors of the alt-right apocalypse, once more wading into the battle. The few, the brave, the bitch be, once more wading into battle against the froggy lobster zombie hordes with Rantzerker number...
160.
Yeah. 160. 160. Mm-hmm. What a journey. Almost to 180, and then we'll be back where we... Well, exact opposite direction.
Turn around and work our way back. Yeah, no.
We're ready to turn around and work our way back.
I'm just wondering who's bitch be.
Yeah.
Bitch be?
Like, yeah, you said bitch be. The few, the brave, the bitch be.
It's like it's a Gumby character, except...
Is it like the great Gatsby? Or like,
maybe.
The great bitch bee?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay,
I don't know.
All right, so I just want to remind everyone we are doing our monthly fundraiser. We have 3 days left, and we got a lot left to go. So if you want to make sure that our content doesn't disappear from the internet, please go to feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz. The link should also be in the low bar, and put a few shekels in the hat.
Is there a low bar here?
Yes, there is a low bar.
Oh, yeah. Wow, there's a low bar, because I was just like, there was a low bar.
No, if you click the link to your short directly, there is a low bar.
No, there was not. It was just in my low. It was just the chat and whatever.
Yeah, but you have to go into your back.
Oh my god.
Area and then just click to the content.
I gotta crawl up my own asshole here to figure out how YouTube's fucked me over yet again. Really?
Yeah. Well, in this case, it's just changing its the user interface, which tech companies are obligated to do constantly. So
they're not obligated. They're not. Nobody wants that. Everybody likes things the way they are.
Yeah, I know. But they have to keep themselves relevant. Well, look at Twitter. Twitter never changed a damn thing.
They increased from 100. No, they increased from 140 characters to 280 characters. That was good. Added a mute button in addition to the report button. That was good. And then when Elon Musk was talking about buying it, he was like, and I kind of want to add an edit button. And I was kind of like, you know what I want? I want a modified edit button. Here's what I want. The tweet still stands, but you get to just cross out the shit you regret saying and just put a little correction underneath it. Right? That's what I want. Right? I want people to not be able to delete their tweets. Right? I want everybody to be like, you know what? What I said, yeah, that was what I said. And I don't get to like erase, I don't get to like fucking shred the evidence.
Okay, so
anyway,
speaking of shredding the evidence,
I'm angry because it's not mosquito-y here. You know why it's not mosquito-y here, Allison?
It's too hot?
Yeah, they would all die.
What temperature is it? What temperature is it, Karen?
Oh god, right now it is oh god. Feels like 34, but they're lying. They always lie.
Yeah. It's 30 here. It's 30 here. It's pretty uncomfortable. I'm guessing we're going to get that 34 tomorrow, or 38 or whatever it is. Yeah, 38 Celsius, which is like almost 100, starting to get towards 100 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, it's like, 100, between 97 and 101. And you have to realize too, we Canadians we're not acclimatized to this. Because you know what? It gets down to like lower than minus 40 in the winter, sometimes for weeks at a time. Minus 40 is where Fahrenheit and Celsius shake hands and go their separate ways, right? So we have to acclimatize ourselves twice a year to the new extremes. We have this massive freaking swing of temperatures that we have to deal with, right? The dogs, they go out in the winter, they can't if they take longer than 35 seconds to do their business, they can't walk, right? You have to go out and pick them up because their legs have seized up from the cold, right? And they're just like standing there with their feet frozen onto the ground screaming, right? And then you get like weeks of brutal heat. And it's like the mosquitoes, they can't survive. The birds, like 4 years ago, the birds were falling dead. We called them birdsicles. They were falling out of the trees.
Wow.
Right? Because they just froze to death. And then all of our coyotes and our jackrabbits died.
Jeez, that's quite the Holocaust. Okay.
It's terrible.
I just want to remind everybody again before we learn more about the climactic conditions of Edmonton, where Karen is. feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz. I'll give it to about 4:50 before I start the arm twisting, because we do need to get this done, folks. We have only you guys to appeal to make sure that we keep on the air. So if you don't do it, it doesn't happen. And I don't think you want to wake up one day and find us gone.
Oh no! What you need to do? Okay, first thing you need to do is fill up the thing, the tip jar, right? To keep, the various people, and then once you're done once that goal is achieved, I need you to like start an air conditioner fund for me.
Okay. All right, let's get going. So, but before you do, just take 5 minutes, guys, and just go to feedthebadger.com. I know part of the problem is you don't want to leave the stream while we're at it, but you can leave it and look at this website. And when we say something particularly cool, you can be like, "Yeah, I feel motivated. Let me give them some dosh." All right, so that's feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz. Okay, Brian.
All right, so we're going to be looking at a video from
that bitch who's probably interviewed on the CBC the other day.
The
while
Take.
I was in the car.
It's called The Take, and no, I don't want to assume. So the channel's called The Take, and the name of the video is How the Manipulative Victim Trope Shaped the Depp Heard Trial. So, fortunately, they have it already kind of time-coded into sections, so we could just jump to a section that sounds like it might be meatier if you wish. The first section is how, basically, like, how the manipulative victim trope plays into the real world. It's about a minute or 2 minutes long. Then there's a section called "What Are These Lying Women Born Out Of?" So it's like yes.
So before we go any further, we are dealing with an echo according to the people in the chat.
Echo?
So yeah, I think it might be on Karen's end.
I'm wearing my headphones.
She's the one lighting up. Strangely.
I'm wearing the headphones.
And the echo is gone, so it might be on Brian's end.
I think it's on Brian's end.
I'm muted, but I don't understand why your sound is playing on my microphone. I have to change. Hold on a second. I'm going to try and change the...
It's the curse of the short. Karen was right.
I am. I'm always right. You know that, Alice. But also, Brian, you got a whole bunch of background noise.
Yeah, that's what I noticed as well. Yeah.
Yeah, you got like an air conditioner going, don't you, you fucker?
No, I don't. Okay, I'll hang up and come back. All right, guys, give me a second here. I'm just gonna check my settings. I don't. Well, we have a air conditioner, but it's like built in. It's very quiet. So, which I've never had before. That's kind of amazing. So let's see, auxiliary input. All right, I'm just gonna go back in.
What kind of feedback?
Okay.
Weird feedback.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm gonna try and move
there's
some.
Still, like, maybe is it a fan?
No, there's no fan. I'm telling you, there's no fan. But I think I'm going to move gonna use ear trumpet to move some things around, because I don't know what else it could be. So just give me a second here. I apologize. All right, let's do this. Let's move the OBS sound to always use the default auxiliary. Okay, say something. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Let's try this then. God, I hope this works. Okay, say something now.
Me?
Something.
There is something going on with my microphone setting.
So this just changed randomly from the last time.
Well, yeah, I didn't do anything. So
It was the short. I tell you.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, I guess that we're not being on air now.
Here's what we're going to do. Because we got to get started. So I'm going to mute when I'm not talking. And then you guys can go ahead and say whatever you want. And then, I'll mess around in the background while that's going on to see if I can fix it. So.
Okay, great.
All right.
Well, we're good for talking.
Yes, I know. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play. And, you guys interrupt when you want to say something.
You got to share it, though. Yeah.
Right, I forgot. Let me just do that.
Okay. Going live. There we go. Gonna click the link. Gonna watch the stream. All right. Okay, so show us the first wow moment, or what did you call it? The first meteor moment?
Why were so many people so ready to believe that Amber Heard was lying in Johnny Depp's defamation trial against her? Does the answer actually have something to do with our popular storytelling tropes? Stories about women being deceptive or manipulative?
Okay, do you think that maybe art imitates life? Right? And so like people notice things happening in their lives, and then when they create art, they make art that is relatable to those things that happened, and that sometimes in the realm of real life, women use accusations of being abused as a tool of abuse, as a weapon of abuse. Do you think that maybe could that be the case? It's not. This isn't shit that just came. Somebody just came. It pulled out of their butt.
Yeah, I think I fixed it.
I don't think you did.
I don't think you did.
Really?
Because it's echoing like crazy. Yep.
Oh yeah, no, you got the background noise and you got the echo. It's like really loud. Honestly, this is the second day in a row, thank God, that we don't have like constant chronic freaking equipment noise outside, because it's officially too hot for the workers to work, and they're renovating the entire neighborhood, all the sidewalks and roads and curbs and everything, right? And so, yeah, no, they've all they've been doing is driving around in with water trucks, spraying down all the dirt on the roads and watering the sod that they put down, right? So, but there haven't been any of the jackhammers and things like that. That's the only reason I could do this today. So.
Well, maybe, Brian, what we'll do is you'll just play a bit, and then we will respond to it, and
you can keep your whore mouth shut, Brian, is what we're saying.
That's fine by me. All right, I'm gonna
your whore mic muted is what I was meant to say.
Yeah. All right, then I'm gonna play some more. So yeah, we're doing art does not in fact imitate life.
Have been embedded in our culture for millennia, dating all the way back to Adam and Eve, and they've become crystallized in the figure of the devious female mastermind who can lie and control others at will.
I've killed for
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Karen.
Well, I'm
I,
just
I,
like, well, why do you think this has been immortalized in literature, and whether you want to call the Bible a work of fiction or not, right? In the written record of our cultures, why do you think this has been a common trope in those written records all the way back? And we're not even talking about the Bible either. We're talking all the way back to the Epic of Gilgamesh and the jealous woman who basically, oh God, what would I call her? I forget what she was called. She was a goddess, and she
Ishtar?
basically Ishtar, yeah, and she her vagina basically chewed up men, and then they didn't much care whether she swallowed them or spit them out. Right? Once she was done with them, she'd turn them into a frog or a freaking snake or a bug or something, right? Because they disappointed her, right? And then she'd fall in love with another one, and she'd like destroy him too because, oh, you disappointed me. And the fickle woman, the feckless woman, the wicked woman, the lying, deceiving, manipulative woman, all of these women, right? Right? Well, they're all icons, literary icons, archetypes, because they exist, right? Just like abusive men, the mean guy, the guy who's like physically violent, whatever, right? All of those, yeah, those archetypes are there because they exist, right? And to have having a balanced approach at looking at men and women, right? We would actually look at the feminine norms that are positive and harmful, and the masculine norms that are positive and harmful. And we would be looking at healthy and toxic masculinity and healthy and toxic femininity, right? And this is just toxic femininity. This is just what it is. And I've seen women do it. And like, I'm sorry, but like, this is just reality, and art is imitating life here.
yeah.
And they always bring up Potiphar's wife. They always bring up Potiphar's wife, and it's like, why wouldn't you fucking bring up Potiphar's wife? Because Potiphar's wife was a lying bitch, right? So, and there are women who do that.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with like what does she think that Hollywood tropes came before the recognition or the existence of women who did evil things?
Or the Bible. Did the Bible come before?
Well, she would say, "Oh yeah, the Bible."
Or did the epic? She has been saying the Bible. Or did the Epic of Gilgamesh come before the recognition that women can do negative things, can behave in negative ways, right? In these particular ways that they're very good at. We've
been lying to ourselves for 6,000 years. Just despite the women who are safely and totally above any kind of moral perfidity.
Yeah, no, they're like hovering over the rest of us, right? Like just like looking down on us they got the halo, and they're like sitting cross-legged in the half lotus position on like a flying carpet, and they're just levitating, and because they're just so divine, and they never do anything wrong, right? I mean, one of the things I think that previous religions, right, these sort of pantheistic religions kind of got right was that even the gods were flawed, right? Like there was nobody who was perfect. Even the gods were flawed. And that kind of put people in their place, and, to say like, okay, so, nobody's perfect. Not even Odin, not even Thor, not even Ishtar, not even Gilgamesh, who was 2/3 God, 1/3 man, however the fuck that works, right? And so you had this way of looking at both mortality and immortality as flawed, and innately imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
And well, we came in with, the Virgin Mary, right? We totally scrubbed any kind of hint that maybe Mary Magdalene was involved with Jesus, right?
Mm-hmm.
That maybe they were like a couple or something, right? Yeah, it erased all of that, and because you can't say that women aren't perfect. And the one thing I know about the first Mary is the word immaculate is associated with her, and God is perfect, and her son was perfect, and so she's perfect. She was the perfect vessel, and that is all women now, right? And there are no women who do anything wrong. Because if they're not perfect, right? If they're not perfect, well, then they can't be victims. And it's just like, well, why are you so attached to this fucking victim shit?
And I know people have been saying, like, why do you come back to this? And the reason why is that this entire trial, what Amber Heard was believed. She had 6 years free reign to dominate the narrative. The only reason why Johnny Depp was, like, it all comes down to one thing: why Johnny Depp was redeemed. The judge decided
he had the money. He had the money.
No, it wasn't even the money. It wasn't even the money. The money wouldn't have done it. His fame wouldn't have done it. His fans wouldn't have done it. It came down to one thing, one almost random thing. The judge saw the media attention that the case was getting and decided to make it public, to bring cameras into the courtroom. If that hadn't happened, all of the people who watched the trial would have had the trial filtered through the media, and it would have become a patriarchal system once again slams down a victim of domestic abuse. And we need more money to make sure that this doesn't happen. We need to make more money to change people's minds about these issues, to make it essentially so that men can't even use innocence as a defense. Well, so he was innocent, and also the judge just chose to make it public, so the public actually saw it. Because if this was just left up to the media, we would still think he was guilty, or most people would still think he was guilty.
But the issue too is that he actually had the deep pockets where he could actually hire a legal team and pursue it.
And that wasn't enough. And that was
no, enough. It wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been enough on its own. But if he didn't have that money, there wouldn't have been a trial to put on TV.
No, that's very true. So, and this entire court case shows several things. One, men are screwed no matter what area of the social economic ladder that they occupy. Even if they're Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, in another alternative universe where Judge Penny said, no cameras in the courtroom, Johnny Depp would still be screwed, because the media would have just rewrote that finding by the jury.
They would have selectively quoted, right? Yeah, everything that went on, and then they would have basically portrayed the finding by the jury, which is what they're trying to do right here, right, as unjust, right? It's a re-victimization of a victim, right? The jury's verdict is a re-victimization of a victim. But they would have maybe been able to get away with it if people hadn't been watching what was said and done at the trial. And it's like, so I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is why justice is supposed to be done in public. This is why the British family court system is so unjust, is because it's all private. It's all in private. There's a gag order on everyone. And so there can be no public outcry if the people who are subjected to family court justice in the UK aren't allowed to publicly talk about what happened in court, right?
Yeah, and that's why they make family court private, so they can engage in this level of injustice and then lie about it.
Yep.
Mm.
So,
and if our society is going to shit, and it's sort of starting to feel like that might be the case,
it
couldn't. Yeah, well, okay, maybe we're well on the way. Insofar as I think that we have a great thing going, the fact that it rests on the destruction of men to this degree, like removing them from their children's lives, not recognizing that they're domestic violence victims, all of that is...
We had a great thing going, Allison.
Oh, okay, I guess you're right.
A great thing going. When we had nuclear families, when the majority of families, when like 85 to 90% of children were being raised in intact homes with a married mother and father, right? When and then even looking at the environmental implications of how we live now, right? Where it's like, okay, so now you got one family, but you got two households, and you got two energy bills, and you got two refrigerators and two stoves and two washing machines and two of everything, right? Because, you're living separately from your ex-spouse. But if you're the husband, you need to actually have the space to host your children when they're, when the ex deigns to let them visit and things like that, right? So you're looking at like billions of gallons of fresh water, hundreds of billions of gallons of fresh water that are wasted every year because we live differently from the way we lived in 1970. And because there are just fewer people who are married, and there are fewer people who are raising their kids in intact families. And so you're looking at this bizarre deconstruction of everything, of the social fabric that holds everything together. And it actually, and then the government just steps in and says, well, hey, I got some money for you. I got some EBT cards for you. Maybe you could go to that bodega and, or as Jill Biden would say, Bogoda, and buy a bag of chips for your daughter at 11 o'clock at night. It's like, you literally just have these disintegrating communities, and nobody's looking out for each other. It's really a shame. Neighbors don't talk to each other anymore. There's no there's no block parties. There's no backyard barbecues where you invite your next door neighbors. Nobody talks over the fence anymore. It's like everybody just keeps themselves, and they're just like, we're kind of pulling away from each other. And I mean, I had a guy from Bangladesh, right, studying in Nova Scotia, call me one day, and he said, I am just absolutely stunned by the lack of community cohesion in Canada. And all I can think is that, well, if you run into trouble, you go to the government. You don't go to your neighbors. You don't go to your neighbors and say, can you help me out? You go to the government. And he's just like, that. We can't do that in Bangladesh. Right. So they have community cohesion, and he was just like stunned at how kind of isolated people are in Canada. And, I'm sure it's kind of the same in the US.
Okay. Well, I just want to remind everyone, because nobody has actually gone in and helped us out. So,
Jesus, do we have to bring in the screaming lesbian feminists?
feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz. Really, it would be a real big help if you just $5 is great. just to get this started, because it's starting to get a little bit nerve-wracking. You know, we got 3 days left to make sure that we can fund the show for the month. And I do want to be able to do that. And I also, I know that Hannah has been a little bit scarce. It's because she's still dealing with a lot of the fallout from her parents dying. And so she's had a lot of paperwork to go through because both parents died in 1 year. And although she hasn't been able to do the shows, I would still like to be able to pay her something for the month, because she has worked so hard on these shows and so hard to make Honey Badger Radio happen. So, you know, please,
Yes,
just take that 30 seconds, go to feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz and put a few shekels in the hat. Because it really does help.
I'm going to be reasonable for a change and say that Hannah needs that money more than I need an air conditioner. So please do that.
Yes, please do it. Once again, that's feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz. And I will keep refreshing to see if anybody has actually done it. And if there is a problem with the fundraiser, can you just tell me in the comment section so that I can fix it? Because this is very unusual. Anyway, it's feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz. Or you can click it in the low bar. Okay. All right. Shall we do another comment? Go ahead, Brian.
That narrative was certainly visible throughout the trial, when a huge number of people became fixated on the idea that Heard was not only being deceitful, but had even carefully orchestrated an intricate series of events in order to tarnish Depp's reputation.
There was kind of a weaponization of the reputational warfare online. There was almost this heat machine built against her.
Whatever your opinion on Heard's ultimate veracity, there was very little evidence suggesting she was pulling off some kind of elaborate hoax. As one of Depp's lawyers,
Doesn't matter. Does not matter. He had to prove to a 50.1% probability that she was lying. He didn't have to prove definitively, right? Oh, wait, they're both public figures, so he had to prove clear and convincing, right? That she was lying. That she was lying and she had damaged his reputation. He didn't have to prove that she came up with an elaborate hoax. He didn't have to prove that she, cooked up this dastardly scheme, that she was Snidely Whiplash, he didn't have to prove any of that, right? He had to prove that the allegations that she made were not credible to about a 75 to 80% probability. And he did that. And that's all.
Mm-hmm. And he was lucky for that, because he would have been killed in family court.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, family court in the United States anyway is, it's not under the gag orders that the UK does in the US and in Canada, but I mean, you still have to, you're still facing a bias as a man. And the only way to overcome that bias is to be a highly charming, highly manipulative, highly intelligent sociopath like Amber Heard. If you're a man, that's the only way you can actually do to your male or your female spouse what she did to Johnny Depp for
and
6
even
years.
then, I don't think you could as a man.
Oh no, there are cases, but
yeah, but not like what happened here.
No,
not to a woman who had a significant evidence. First of all, it would have to be to a female abuse victim with no evidence. Absolutely none. Because there's no way that a female abuse victim presenting evidence consistent with her injuries. So in other words, if you say that you were raped with a broken bottle, you have evidence from the emergency room of like a 6-hour operation to save your life.
Yeah, no. Do you remember Nicole and Michael Ryan? That case in Canada?
Mm-hmm.
It was, I think they were in Nova Scotia, and they might have been New Brunswick, but they divorced, and he moved like an 8-hour drive away, right? And he got custody of their daughter from the family court because Nicole was just such a psycho, right? I mean, she'd attacked her father at a family gathering. She'd tried to run over her sister with a car, right? I mean, she was just like a psycho, right? And but then she goes and she hires a guy to kill him, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. And it was a police officer. Yeah,
they were no. First guy she hired was an actual criminal, right? But he just took off with her $10,000 and said, like screw you. And he went and actually went to the police. And then they sent a police officer undercover to do the negotiations when she tried to hire a second one. And he asked her, it's on camera. He asked her, well, has he been hitting you or anything? And she's like, oh, no, nothing like that. But I need it done by this date because that's when the divorce will be finalized. And then I lose his pension and his life insurance benefits. Yeah.
Hey.
Okay. And so then she gets charged. And on the stand at her trial, she says, well, he abused me and I was living in terror of him. And that's why I needed him to be killed, was because I was living in terror of this person who lived 8 hours away from me, who moved 8 hours away from me because he wanted to get away from me, and who was given custody of our 9-year-old daughter. Right. But I was terrified and I called police all the time and they didn't do anything. They didn't. They just left me twisting in the wind. They kept, I called and they didn't come, or I called and they came and they said, no, nothing to see here. Go stuff yourself. Right. And so they opened up a federal fucking inquiry into how the police could have dropped the ball so bad, and found out that, there's no record of her ever calling police. The only police calls that had anything to do with her were people calling the police on her, like her sister, who she tried to run over with a car. Right? Okay, so then the Crown appealed. Right? Because they were like, because we don't have double jeopardy here in Canada, right? And so the Crown appealed because she was acquitted on the basis of being an abused woman, right? She's an abused woman, and she was suffering battered woman syndrome. So the Crown appealed, and they said, okay, here's the thing, and it went up to the Supreme Court of Canada, and they said, just wait for it. We're going to stay the charges against her because as an abused woman, she's already been through a lot of trauma. And I was like, what?
Well, there you go. And to be honest, if you are a woman who's in a situation, record your injuries, keep a diary, record everything, and you will be fine.
Yeah, turn your cell phone on, put it on speakerphone, phone a friend, right? Or put it on record mode, put it on speakerphone, stick it in your pocket, right? When there's an altercation, do that. Record everything. Because, that's how my friend convinced me to drive all the way fucking down to Boise, Idaho and rescue her. from her abusive spouses. I listened to 11 hours of interaction, 11 straight fucking hours of him going at her, gaslighting her, and just making her insane. Like it was
Awful.
crazy.
Crazy making.
Yeah, no.
But this is the thing. If you are a woman in an abusive relationship, or if you're a man, the ultimate end result will be probably vastly different. If you are a woman in an abused relationship, record what's happening, keep a diary, keep everything, where he can't see it, give it to a friend, keep it at your workplace, whatever you need to do in your own hard drive or your own USB stick. When you get out and when you tell people, you will be believed. When you seek justice, you will get it. It will require an incredible fluke for a woman with evidence to not receive the justice from the situation that she finds herself in.
Yeah.
An incredible fluke. I mean, come on, let's be reasonable here. It will take quite the fluke. A male narcissist can't get out of both the fact that he's abusing a woman and the fact that she has evidence consistent with her stories. So just make sure you're doing that. Now, if you're a man who's being abused, you want to record everything so that if and when your abuser does a false accusation, you aren't then subsequently abused more by the system.
Yeah.
There's a good possibility that you will also be abused by the system, even with evidence, but you greatly reduce the likelihood that your abuser will be able to use the system to abuse you further if you have evidence. You probably won't get any kind of justice for having been abused, but at the very least, you can maybe have a better chance of stopping the system of becoming the instrument of your abuser's torture of you. So, I mean, there's different outcomes for men and women. Women, you'll get justice. Men, you'll be able to protect yourself from the system better. But
but always, like if you're having a conflict with someone, I mean, it's one.
Always be recording.
It depends on the state. Okay, in the United States, in Canada, the entirety of Canada is a one-party state, right?
But even if you're a woman and you're recording abuse, I'm pretty sure that they're not going to go after you if you're not in a one-party state.
Yeah, no, they're not going to
waive that.
They're not going to prosecute you for it, and it might not be admissible at trial, but the cops will listen.
The cops will listen. The social workers will listen. The people, the people in domestic violence orgs, although be careful with that because they will prey on you in a vulnerable state and get you to believe stuff about the world that is not true. Because they're peddling a religion, depending on which domestic. I mean, there are domestic violence shelters and survivor services shelters that are staffed by people who are very genuine. But there's a lot of them that,
they're radical feminists.
They're radical feminists and they're pushing a religious agenda. But like if you're a woman, you should feel like the system most likely has your back as long as your story is consistent with the evidence. If you're a man, sorry to say, the system does not have your back. But if you do follow the advice we're giving, you can probably protect yourself from becoming secondarily victimized by the system. I wish I had better news, with that.
Well, at least there's that, and it is a good idea. Always be recording. Whenever there's something going haywire, something going sideways, just start recording, and then it goes from there. And like I've learned that over the course of my career in men's rights, you never just. I mean, I got lazy, right? So there are some things that journalists, in air quotes, were able to do, lies that they were able to tell, right? That I could have avoided if I'd been recording the entire thing, but I don't know that I would want to record 5 straight hours at Hooters. Yeah, but, you know, like when that chick from Bloomberg came out with her little video and she's like, I'm talking about how you've been sexually assaulted and Hannah's been sexually assaulted and I've been sexually assaulted. And then it just cuts to me crying, right? Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, what's the takeaway from that? Oh, I'm crying over the fact that I was sexually assaulted. And it's like, I've never cried over that incident.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, no, I guarantee you I was talking about either my husband being cut off from his daughter, who he raised for like 5 years, and just, yeah, no, you're just out of her life, like, and there's no recourse, or my stepson dying. Right? It was one of those two things, because those are the only two things that I ever cry over.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's not something that happened to you, but a loss of someone you love, right?
Well, it's just like, it's like witnessing my husband going through that suffering. It took him, like, he's still not completely over it, but he's no longer, he doesn't dwell on it anymore in terms of like him being cut off from his daughter. His ex was just like, yeah, no, I don't need a babysitter anymore. Like, fuck off. And so, you know, he's managed to not dwell on it a lot, right? But there are still days. And my stepson, you know, there are still times when I think about him, and if I have to actually describe what happened and, you know, like the whole situation and everything, you know, like I go on a 6-hour crying jag, maybe even a 3-day crying jag, because it was so senseless and so preventable. And if he had, if his mother had allowed him to come out and visit us when he turned 18, like she'd promised, which is when when his father and I had split up, right? Okay, and I was like, no, send him up. Welcome. He can stay here. Here's his home base. He can go on the ferry every day, see his dad. It'll be great. You know, like, it'd be great. Yeah, if she'd let him do that, then maybe he'd have stayed. Because he was 18. He turned 18. And maybe he'd have stayed. And we weren't having no Skittles parties in Port McNeill, BC. Nobody in Port McNeill, BC had heard of a Skittles party until Christopher died. Right? The Skittles party is just bring everything from your parents' medicine cabinet, dump it all in a big bowl, and take a handful. He didn't die of an overdose. He died of a drug interaction. Made it home, didn't wake up the next morning.
Yeah.
And completely stupid, completely preventable. I was so fucking angry with that kid. I was like, what the fuck were you thinking, you little fucking bastard? Like, why? Why would you do that?
His mother had just sort of like, you know.
I don't think he did it on purpose. He always had sloppy impulse control. But I, you know, he was always a troubled child, not troubled in the sense of, like, because he was always the most well-intentioned kid ever. He just had poor judgment, sloppy impulse control, you know, inability to extrapolate consequences, right? You know, so it's like he was always getting stitches or getting bones set or whatever because he did something stupid, right? And it's just like, okay, so this was just another stupid thing he did, but he would not have been exposed to that if he'd come out to visit us and decided to stay, and we would have invited him to stay. And she wouldn't fly him out, and he didn't have the money to come, and we didn't have the money to bring him out. So
Yeah. I mean, it's saddening. Like, a lot of this injustice is just terribly saddening. And what's even more saddening is we can't speak honestly about it. And that means we're just creating a bigger and bigger abscess of pus in our society. Like a bigger and bigger abscess of pain and suffering and just corruption, because we can't talk about it. We can't air it out. We can't look at it honestly. I mean, we can do it here, but, not a big channel. Always sort of suffering for making the bills each month,
but this nice big channel, they're doing the whole, ever since time immemorial, women have been falsely accused of being false accusers.
But false accusations don't exist, yo. Oh.
Yeah, no, it's
because stories. So because people watch Hollywood, which is less and less. Oh, hey, did we lose Brian?
We did, but he's
no,
back.
I'm back. I'm back.
But because people watch stories and they read stories, we looked at Amber Heard and we said, oh, she must be an abuser. She must be making this all up. Even though for 6 years we looked at Amber Heard and said, oh, she must be completely above board and she's an abused woman. And my God, that Johnny Depp is a batterer. Suddenly, all of those, you see what happened, Karen, is that there was a critical mass of evil, manipulative woman tropes coming out of Hollywood. Like just something, like maybe a migration happened, maybe the radio waves bouncing after the atmosphere just made people susceptible to it. And just suddenly, just about a couple days into the trial, maybe a week or so into the trial, suddenly that critical mass jumped, like just leapt on everybody. And we all were like, yeah, Amber Heard is a manipulative, sociopathic abuser, not because of what we're seeing in the trial, but because we watched too many Disney movies from the 50s. And she's a Maleficent.
Ooh, and I heard about Potiphar's wife one time in church.
Yeah, that's why it happened, guys. Even though we can it's likely that the amount of this trope in existence in people's brains did not increase substantially between 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, when most people were believing Amber and believing that she was abused. 6 years of that.
Yeah.
And then 2022 happens. I don't think the net amount of this trope increased or changed. So I'm pretty sure that this is a constant. And yet they're appealing to this trope as the reason why suddenly everybody in 2022, irrespective of the trial, by the way, of the publicized trial, just leapt to the idea that, oh, wait, Amber Heard is abusive. Not because they looked at the evidence in the trial. No, it's because the sleeper load of this like the Siripico, the sneaky Manchurian candidate in the brain of this trope just suddenly erupted.
Oh yeah,
in 2022.
No. Yeah, it was. It's been building for about 6,000 years.
Finally, it erupted.
When you combine the written and oral traditions, about 6,000 years. Because, like the Epic of Gilgamesh with Ishtar there, that was
the Sumerians,
estimated to have originated.
All the Chinese
originated in 4,000 BC and then been written down in 2000 BC when they finally got writing.
Cuneiform, yeah. But you also have to consider the Chinese. Like they have a literature tradition that talks, and a historical tradition that talks about, the historical tradition talks about actually conniving women, but they have that trope in their stories too. So we can also include all of that.
All of these people who are complaining, okay? All of these feminists, okay, you know what they gobble up like candy? House of Cards and Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do they both feature? Conniving women.
Well, but you don't understand, Karen, because it's on the TV, it can't be true.
Oh,
So if you watch it on the TV, it can't be true.
What I found really amazing, okay? What I found really amazing is, so I'm on David Futrell's website this one time, right? Okay, and he's got his like little freaking coven of psychotic women, right? Who leave drive-by insulting comments and don't add anything to the conversation, but like they're dyed-in-the-wool feminists, right? And whatever they know David Futrell is right and you're wrong, right? And I left a comment there, and it was a thoughtful comment. It was maybe a little harshly worded, but had some information in it. And then one of them posts a GIF of Kevin Spacey as Underwood, or whatever the fuck his name was, in House of Cards, right? Yeah, the main character in House of Cards, rolling his eyes. Okay. And then the entire conversation devolved into oh my God, that series is just so amazing. And like everybody in the thread forgot about what I had said and just started chiming in about how the series was so amazing, so realistic, so like, oh my God, so intense, blah, 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 right? You realize that Claire and Frank Underwood are Democrats, and they're based on Bill and Hillary Clinton. And you're like, oh my God, it's so realistic. It's just so realistic. And I'm like, yeah, Frank Underwood pushed a freaking woman, a journalist, in front of a freaking train.
Well, to be honest,
his chief of staff buried a whore in the desert.
Okay, Karen.
Right? Yeah, no, but I'm saying
Yeah,
these women are literally saying that show is just so realistic. And I'm like, really? Because Claire seems like a psycho who's only in it to rake in money, right? And Frank seems like a psycho who's in it for power, and he's going to kill women to get it. And are you watching the same series as me? Right? Because last I checked, you vote Democrat.
Okay, can I just say something? I think what you might be attributing a level of warmth,
awareness,
and empathy. No, warmth and empathy. Because what I've noticed is a lot of everything with these individuals is dominance and submission. So it's not that the Democrats are being portrayed as being horrific people. They're portrayed as being winners, Karen. They're winning.
Oh, yeah, no, they're winning because, when you push that journalist in front of a train, she can't publish the story.
Yeah, winning.
Winning.
Yeah, so it's like you got to consider that.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the people who get absorbed into these. I'm not talking about these people who sort of get absorbed into these issues of concern and have a genuine concern about them. In fact, I think these people are being exploited by everyone else who has a less than genuine concern and is more interested in using these problems to push an agenda and make things worse in many cases for the victims of them. Shall we listen to a bit? Oh, wait. Before we do have some super chats, which I can tend to.
Oh.
Do we have any super chats, Brian?
I can't.
Brian is completely mute today, I guess.
Yeah, I can't talk right now.
Well, he's been problematic, so
Yeah, he's been problematic.
best he
You see it
stays
here. We're
muted.
silencing a minority.
Yeah.
All right. So I will give some thank yous. I want to thank okay.
He's the Puerto Rican face of white supremacy, Allison.
Yep. Charles, egregious Charles, for $100. Thank you, egregious.
Oh.
Can we get a yeah, okay. And then we got $5 from Felix O. So thank you, Felix O. I think he's new. And then we got $5 from Ted F. Thank you, Ted F. Oh, wait. That's let me see. Oh yeah, okay. So I did it right. All right. And then we got another $5 from Derek W. Thank you, Derek W. We got
Yeah. Brian, I'm sensing that you're in a somewhat hostile mood today.
No, he always uses that one.
Well,
he's not hostile. He's
all
probably
right.
irritated that he can't speak, but
Fine. You and me both, Trump.
Okay, so Zoowam gives us $25. Thank you, Zoowam. Okay, and Deadly Do Right gives us $250. Thank you, Deadly Do Right.
Wow.
Making me feel a lot better about our efforts today. So thank you, Deadly. Wow. Oh wow. That's a lot to unpack there. Okay, David USB Obliviator. No, USB Violator. I hope that's not your legal name for your own sake. It gives us $25. Thank you, USB Violator. And if you would like to join our very generous supporters, once again, it's feedthebadger.com/project/badger-b-blitz. Thank you guys. You're making me feel a lot better about the things, about our future, about being able to change
the thing.
Yeah, the thing. And they like to grab my hair.
All men and women are created by the
thing.
The thing.
The noodle.
Yeah, the big noodle.
The big noodle.
The big
okay.
noodle in the sky.
All right. So once again, that's feedthebadger.com/projects-badger-media-blitz. And now to the super chats. We got $5 from Anonymous. Thank you, Anonymous. $5 from person referring to himself as 4HBR exclamation point. Thank you, 4HBR exclamation point. Have some money. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you. Appreciate it. GoBC12 gives us $5 and says, please play That's Right clip. For the love of God, tell me where I find it. I've searched and I can't find it. Can you play the That's Right clip? Uh-oh. We have a clip technical difficulty.
Brian.
Maybe I'll
no, you can't.
Yeah, get the clip up.
Yes, I know. You won't be able
call
to.
It up, man.
You won't be able to hear me. Could you try?
I need your support.
My sound isn't coming out in Discord for some reason. So can you guys send a message?
Well,
so I can't.
I don't
play
see
the
there are
clip.
any super chats. So once again, go to feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz or go in the low bar and put a few shekels in the hat. Every bit helps. I saw a bunch of you put in $5, which is great because I know the real big thing is just taking the time to go to feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz and start the process. All right. So shall we do another comment since we've gotten like only a few seconds in.
Yeah.
Adam Waldman directly accused her of. But many found it easy to cast her in the manipulative female mastermind role because she wasn't the flip side to this figure, the so-called perfect victim.
I'm not. Okay, what the hell? I guess the narrative has evolved to, it wasn't because of the trope, it's because people saw into her life and saw that she wasn't the perfect victim. Yeah, they saw evidence that she was the one who was initiating the violence, perpetuating it, and he was the one trying to escape it.
I have nothing to add here.
If you are going to paint a woman, like if you're going to paint a person, if she was a man, there is no way you would be talking about him being an imperfect victim when he's the one initiating the violence. He's the one hitting his partner. He's the one chasing her down to hit her more and to continue arguments she's trying to escape.
He'd be the perfect perpetrator even if he wasn't doing any of those things.
He'd be the perfect perpetrator if he was a man. I guess you're right.
Yeah. So there you go.
It's really, really infuriating. Okay.
Can you guys hear me now?
Did you find the that's right clip?
Yes, but the problem is that when I play those clips, the audience can't hear it, so my audio settings are all fucked up. So if I play it, no one can hear it. So just now, when I was playing those soundboard clips for the people's donations, I saw that Lindsay said that we can't hear the sound clips. So something is goofy. I don't know why. I'm gonna keep trying to figure it out.
I want to hear the that's right clip. I can hear it.
Yeah,
I mean, you'll be able to hear it, but no one else will. I don't know if that.
Yeah, well,
that's
but I want to hear it.
All right.
Man, this show has been totally benighted.
No, these things happen sometimes.
It's because of the short, Allison.
No, it's all my fault. I created a short, and the energy, the evil energy of the short that I created and got Karen to upload on her channel, which I'm not going to look at the comments because I don't want to see all the hatred. The evil juju vibes has propagated into Brian's sound settings.
It's spread. It's like a pathogen. It spreads. It's like, oh, now it's infested this computer and that computer and the other computer, and it's like a virus. It's like a Trojan horse. It gets in everything.
May as well.
And then, all right, play that's right.
All right, I'm gonna try again. Let me see if you hear it. What is it under? Is it? No, it's not under that. It's memes. It's supposedly playing right now, but
no, we can't even hear it.
Yeah, nobody can hear it. I'm trying to figure out how to get it to come out. We just got a super chat from Fried Pie 3.14159 for $19.99, and they say thanks for all you do. So,
you're welcome.
Thank you.
Very appreciated.
Yeah, appreciate that. All right.
That was nice.
Yeah, it's okay.
Or can I say that's right?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. Is it playing?
Oh, no, it's not.
That's right.
Just say it.
I just did it.
Right.
I just did it.
No, it's not.
Okay. Did you guys hear it?
It's not playing.
Now I want to. No, it's over. I played it already. You guys didn't hear it?
No.
That's right. That's right.
Oh my god.
Okay. Well, just gonna keep on struggling with it. But shall we play more of the video or what? What do you want to do?
Yeah. It's like we're broadcasting from like a submarine under the ocean.
The first time I upload a short and this happens. Jesus Christ. No,
Yes,
I knew there was something suspicious about those shorts.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I didn't want anything to do with them.
They're a Trojan horse. Is that what you're saying?
No, they are. They're a Trojan horse, and they like attach
diabolical
onto your channel like a virus, and then they just like dump their contents in there, and then just like infests everything with like fucking bullshit.
Yeah. The shorts did it.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Ooh, sounds like progress. Okay.
Well,
before we go.
Yeah.
feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz. Go there and put some shekels in the hat. $5, $10, everything helps. Just take the time to do it.
And do it because, you know, probably half of the donations we've already gotten have probably disappeared already.
Because of the short?
Because of the short.
The short has created a short in our donations. It's shorting our fundraisers.
I'm just saying. Like, things disappear. The low bar disappears, right? The ability to, like, edit the video disappears. The ability to, like, do anything disappears. And then it just spreads. It's like the pod people from the freaking the body snatchers.
Yeah, we got the echo again, Brian. So
see,
Really?
The short.
Yeah, the short.
Right.
Yeah, okay. I think me and Brian are gonna have to work this out on a separate. Let's do some more of this though.
Maybe stop uploading shorts. How about that?
Eat my shorts.
I'm pretty good one. That was actually really clever.
Let's start.
A good victim, I get it. I'm not a likable victim. I'm not a perfect victim.
The irrefutably blameless perfect victim, like the supernaturally
You are not a
manipulative female
victim!
mastermind, is so rare that
Like,
she might as well not really exist.
How far are they going to push this? Okay? Seriously. How far are they going to push this? Amber Heard is not a victim. She is not a victim. She is the aggressor. She is the abuser. She is the primary abuser. If you are going to try to make the concept of perfect victim apply to her, you are actually doing serious damage to the credibility of everyone in all of this, because it does not apply, and it cannot apply, and there are too many people who realize that. In other words, if they succeed in making Amber Heard a perfect victim, there is absolutely no recourse for men in this society whatsoever.
They aren't going to make her a perfect victim. What they're going to do is say that perfect victims are
Can be
victims.
the abuser.
No, are victims. What they're going to do is say that imperfect victims are also victims, and as long as they're women, and the only reason anyone would think otherwise is because they're prejudiced against women because of, you know, thousands of years of literary tradition talking about the human condition, which includes women's, and it's not just women's propensity to lie about abuse or to levy false accusations or to abuse other people, but also the propensity of men in positions of power to basically just take that football and run with it. Right? Because, you know, they're just taking out the competition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, like there's, like, neither gender gets a free pass on this criticism that I have of this narrative that it's just a narrative, right? Because that's basically what it is. It's a narrative that it's just a narrative, right? And with no basis in reality, right? Nobody gets a pass on it because women do it because men let them, and other women let them get away with it. Right? And so, like, the whole issue is, you know what? How about this? How about we, when something happens, we take a step back, we look at the evidence, right? And we build our assumptions from that evidence. How about that? Because that would be good, right? We don't need to stereotype anyone. Yeah. We don't need to stereotype a woman as a victim or as a wicked woman, malicious, false accuser. We don't need to stereotype a man as a victim or as an abuser, right? We don't need to stereotype either part. Why don't we just look at the facts of the case?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we just do that? And if we actually tried, because I don't think we can just do that, but if we actually made an effort to just do that, right, we would still see some men being falsely accused, right? But not as many. And,
Yeah.
So,
all everybody wants is just get back to the evidence.
Yeah.
And then really, if you really want to help
bias, but there's still bias.
If you really want to help female victims get through the legal system, explain to them what they can expect. They can't expect the defendant's lawyer to be sympathetic.
Yeah.
They can't expect the judge to be sympathetic. I mean, the judge is not going to be like the defendant's lawyer, but the judge should be neutral. Just explain to them every process in this, every step in the system. Give them support through every step, male or female. And, maybe I'll give a caveat. It could be getting better in certain jurisdictions for male victims. I don't know. But regardless, give them an understanding of what will be expected of them. So it's not a surprise and they can, go through it with their eyes open. And don't tell them they're not going to be believed. As long as they have evidence, they will be believed if they're a woman. I mean, you can't really say that necessarily to male victims, but you can certainly say it about female victims. Make sure you record everything. Make sure your evidence is consistent with what you're saying. And if you have to, keep a diary so that you have awareness of what's going on. Because, your memory changes. You forget things. Things suddenly take place in places where, they didn't originally take place. So keep a diary. Yeah. Make sure that you're recording everything. Make sure that you're recording everything in your diary. This is important stuff. Like Raybald Smith, the Indigenous woman that Justin Trudeau sacked. She kept a diary. She kept
Jody Wilson Raybould.
Yeah, Raybould. Yeah, no Smith. Sorry, Raybould. Yeah, she kept a diary because she knew this wasn't in a domestic violence context, but it was in a context of dealing with someone with more power. She knew fuckery was afoot, so she recorded it in her diary. And that became evidence.
Yeah.
So do those kinds of things. Make sure you're recording. Make sure you keep your story consistent, and you will be believed. The system is there to help you. Not every part of the system is there to help you, because some parts of the system are there to make sure that what you're accusing another person of isn't false. So, support victims in giving their testimony and presenting their evidence. Don't lie to them, especially if they're women, that the system, that they won't be believed, because they will be believed if they have the evidence behind them, especially if they're a woman, and do that if you want to support victims and advocate for them. But don't get away from an evidentiary standard, because once you do this, like any system that does not at its base look at evidence primarily is a system that privileges narcissists and other people who can manipulate narratives and emotions, if they're male or female. I mean, you might maybe get more innocent men in a system that is basically, the man is the abuser, but you will probably be avoiding getting the male narcissists who are able to manipulate any system to their benefit.
This is really, 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 like, it's pertinent to me right now because my husband's on stress leave right now. And the reason why is because he's got a toxic coworker who he's filed a formal complaint and it's going through the process, and so Mike can't concentrate on work. He's just like, I'm not useful. I'm not productive. I'm not going to pull a wage when I'm sitting staring at a screen and doing nothing, right? But yeah, this person is a classic narcissist, right? every single thing that I've seen, right? And a lot of it that's been documented and everything, right? Every single thing that I've seen is like not just with this person dealing with Mike, but this person dealing with the other people, right, around Mike. I'm just like, like this guy needs to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the only problem is it's a union shop, and the guy's in the union, and so it's difficult to get rid of someone. And but like you if you just go by the evidence, and you didn't know anything about anybody, you didn't know any of these people from Adam, and you just looked at the evidence, you'd be like, what the hell? And I think part of the reason why it took so long, right, for somebody to complain was because it was a gradual buildup. Like, this is what narcissists do. They work you up into it, right? They get you to acclimatize, right? So they cross a boundary here, right? And then you kind of object and put your foot down, and then they back off a little bit, and then they push forward again, and they incrementally squeeze you into a place where finally you have to say, this far, no further. But what they inevitably hope is, well, I will destroy you, right? I will get rid of you. You will be the one leaving, not me. And then I will run around like Charlie Sheen yelling, winning. And that's what narcissists are like, right? And they gaslight, and they freaking try and make you think that you're going insane. And one of the things my husband did, he recorded a phone call. And he didn't record it to share it with anyone. He didn't record it to like send it to HR or whatever, right? He recorded it so he could go back and confirm that he's sane, polite, courteous, agreeable, right? Because he's just like, what? He gets the phone call where he's sane, polite, courteous, and agreeable, and then he gets the follow-up email, right? That's like, you're deceptive, evasive, resistant, and belligerent. Yeah. And it's like, I'm glad I told him to record that phone call, right? Because he went back and listened to it. He was like, yeah, no, everything this guy is saying is a lie in the email, right? And so it's just like, people like this what I'm trying to get at is, people like this exist. They exist. They are not all men. They are not all women. And any system that protects people from suffering repercussions of bad behavior, like a union, right, will preserve the power of those people to fuck everybody else over.
And also,
I'm not even saying unions are bad, right? Unions can be good. They got their good points, they got their bad points, right? But they preserve those kinds of people.
Yeah, and in this case, any system that doesn't incentivize fact-finding and evidence-based decision-making will enable narcissists to get away with what they do. And that's what a system that is breaking itself to try to find a person like Amber Heard to be the victim and Johnny Depp to be the abuser, because Amber Heard is a woman and Johnny Depp is a man. That's what the system will do, because it will go away from an evidentiary standard towards basically black and white, easily manipulated narratives, and Male narcissists are able to thrive in that kind of an environment much more even than women who are victims and don't have evidence of it.
Agreed.
So it's like, you create this kind of system and it's just, it just becomes, and then when you tell women, oh, you won't be believed, or if they don't gather evidence, or you don't tell women gather evidence and stuff, that then you are creating a system that is not helping anyone.
Oh, what? This
go
is
ahead.
one of the things. This is one of the things when I was interviewed by CTV News. I think it was over the "Don't Be That Girl" campaign that we did. So CTV News, they interviewed me in the parking lot of my condo, and I said, well, if you tell women who've been raped that less than 2% of rapists will ever spend a day in prison, or, okay, but that also fewer than 2% of women ever lie about rape. Okay, so this is simultaneously these two narratives. Less than, or maybe it was less than 10%. I forget what it frickin' was at the time. Less than 10% of rapists will spend even one night in prison. Less than 2% of rape claims are false. Okay? What you tell them is there's no point in reporting. Because even if they're believed, the guy's not going to spend time in prison, right? And because you won't be believed, even though the police are the ones who are saying that fewer than 2% of women lie about rape, and the police are also saying less than 10% of rapists ever spend any time in prison, right? So you're like, well, why would I bother reporting? And she couldn't get it. And I'm just like, why don't you put out a thing where you say, report your rape, get a rape kit right away. Go to the hospital, get a rape kit right away, because that's important. Don't wash your clothes that you were wearing, because that's important. And then go to the police and report it and let the process play out. And maybe it won't work out, but maybe it will, right? Because we have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, right? That's the burden of evidence that we have, right?
Yeah.
So it's not going to work out.
But at least you had your day in court. And I mean, I heard one woman who had experienced having been raped and also experienced going through the system. And although her abuser eventually wasn't found guilty because there supposedly wasn't enough evidence, she still was satisfied by what happened, by the support, and by the fact that she had a chance to bring him to justice.
She had a chance to make her case. And it's like
her case
to be heard, and it's like, no pun intended, but like the whole thing is that if you tell victims, genuine victims, right, there's no point in reporting, because even though only 2% of rape claims are false, right, nobody ends up getting convicted.
Okay, I'm gonna actually qualify what I said earlier. If you're a man and you are being abused, you should go to the cops.
Yeah.
You maybe not go to the cops at the moment you're being abused, because
don't call them in the moment. Don't call them in the moment. Go the next day
with evidence.
File a police report.
File a police report. So, and just keep doing it. And if they mock you or if they refuse, just be rock. I'm not leaving until this is done, and just keep doing it. to get a trail, and that's going to be really critically important if she should come back with a false accusation, or if you really need to get out at some point. And so even if the system is hostile to you, you should still do it, because it's not like the next day you could be arrested or the cops can do anything to you except file your report. So there's that. Even though the system is probably not for you, first of all, there may be the chance that you're in a more progressive precinct and you'll find a cop that's more sympathetic. In this case, you might want to look for a female cop. I know that might sound crazy.
Yeah,
but
no,
it's true.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. So if you can, get a female cop to file your complaint with, or your what happened statement. Yeah, your statement. But still, you should do that if you're a victim. If you're a domestic violence victim as a man, if you've been subject to sexual assault. And I'm not going to say that the system is going to, going to treat you with kid gloves, but at the same time, is if you don't do it in the moment, I think sexual assault, if you do it after it occurs, the police probably won't have any grounds to do anything to you. But with the domestic violence, it might not be a good idea to call them in a moment. But if you do it after, you start getting that paper trail, you start getting to the notice of people, and that can really help you in the long run. So even though the system is not your friend, if you're a man, you probably still should engage with it, to make sure that you're getting that paper trail. And again, if you can, find a female cop, because they'll be more sympathetic. It's my experience anyway.
Yeah, no, I've experienced that too. Male cops are generally, they're generally a little bit on the
white knighty side.
Yeah, white knighty side. Yeah, and
very black and white side.
Yeah, well, that's why they call it black and white.
Yeah, and Boda suggests record the police, making sure you have evidence. Probably a good idea as well.
Yep.
So make sure that you just keep that paper trail up.
Always. Okay. If you're in the U.S. and not Canada, always check to see if your state is a one-party consent state.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's not, then unless you're obviously recording, right? Unless you're visibly holding up your phone and and they know that you're recording, they can tell you to turn your recording off. Or
they can have those weird things that suck down cell phones and make them impossible to use. I noticed they have that at the border. So Watermerd says, I strongly disagree. Avoid engaging the system at all times. Okay, but the caveat to that is do not get into a relationship, because the instant you're in a relationship with a woman, you are engaging with the system.
Yeah, you've engaged the system. Yeah.
It's period. So you can do that, but go absolute monk MGTOW then. Like Mike Pence rules in the office, absolute monk MGTOW in your personal life, because otherwise you are engaged with the system.
Yeah.
But so if you are in a situation with a woman who is abusive, what you want to forestall is the inevitable false accusation with the system. Yeah. And you are really behind an 8 ball, because it's you. Like I said, you have already started to engage with this when you initiated a relationship with a woman. All right. Shall we listen to a bit more? Lighten this up, because it's getting a bit depressing.
Tiny bit.
And still, in deciding who's telling the truth and who isn't, we so often refer to these tropes. It's a big reason many women don't come forward, because they assume they won't be deemed believable.
I wasn't the
who said that?
Here's our take on
who said that.
Yeah, it was you.
It was you. And what is this perfect victim crap? You're the ones peddling it, like this retarded ad that I about saying, women shouldn't feel bad about their bodies and then excruciatingly detailed reasons. And I'm like, wow, now I feel bad. Because you guys are perpetuating this. You don't have to be a perfect victim. You just have to be a victim whose evidence is consistent with her story and who has evidence.
Yeah.
Okay, for women, in many cases, they don't even need evidence. But to be honest, it really should come down to evidence. And if you're up against a narcissist, a male narcissist, you're going to need the evidence because he's going to be able to manipulate the system like a freaking snake through a garden hose. A garter snake through a garden hose. Just, I don't know if that makes sense. Rat out of an aqueduct.
Rat out of an aqueduct?
Hmm.
I don't understand your metaphors, Allison.
I know my metaphors are confusing. She's just going to be able to transverse the system like something slippery is transversing something slimy. How's that?
There you go.
All right. Maybe I should go more with the tactile metaphor. All right. So make sure you have evidence, man or woman. If you're a woman, you are most likely going to be believed. You may even be believed without evidence, but if you're up against a narcissist, you got to have the evidence. Because those people can manipulate everything around them to their own ends. It's so bizarre. It's like they have a magic power.
Yeah, they are really, they're really good at fooling people.
Yeah. Okay, Albert Nader Retro gives us $5 and says a union is only membership it democratically elects and its reps and works like a lawyer on retainer and have to represent all members. Yeah, I don't think that Karen is necessarily completely bashing unions, which will likely get her in trouble with the ANCAPs and the
Oh my god. Okay.
I'm just gonna roll with it. I'm not gonna say anything.
I'm just saying unions have their good things and their bad things. And like Mike was he was thinking about quitting and finding a different job somewhere else. And I was like, no, you're staying in that fucking union. Because, like your job's guaranteed until retirement, basically, as long as you're not a complete retard, right? As long as you maintain your competency, you're going to climb, you're going to get regular increases, your job security is like super awesome. You get like lots of personal days, paid sick days, lots of vacation days, like literally 4 weeks of vacation a year, right? And benefits, extended medical and dental and all of this other crap, right? You get all of that shit, right? You might be making $95,000 a year in wages, but you're making $130,000 a year in pork, right? So, like, why you're not leaving? You're not leaving. You are not leaving because of this guy, right?
Do battle.
So, yeah. No, you got it. You got to, and also. There's 2 other members of the team, right? The guy is team lead. There's 2 other members of the team. Like it's the guy, Mike, and 2 people, and they're women. And I'm like, you know what? If you need to drop a nuke from orbit, just tell the managers I'm not going to quit because I don't want to leave 2 women alone with this guy.
Oh yeah, play the game.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's do a little bit more. Oh, wait, before we continue. Sorry there, Brian. We're stalled out a little bit. I'd love to get our current total over 1,380, because that would be cool. That requires another $210. Do you think you guys can do it? If you do, please go to feedthebadger.com/projects/badger-media-blitz. Put a few shekels in the hat. And let's continue.
How our narratives around the Depp Heard trial draw on the tropes of the perfect victim and the devious manipulative woman, and how both of these fictional ideas fuel dangerous societal misogyny.
If the truth is inconvenient, if the truth doesn't, like, fit, they don't believe it.
Bullshit. Bullshit. If the truth is inconvenient, like, they're really trying to put the genie back in the bottle with this thing. People watch the evidence. She was the abuser. The end.
Ugh.
She admitted to hitting him.
You know, I'm just bored with this now. Let's just get through another minute or so, and then I need to go and take the garbage out and do other things that maybe some people think that are manly tasks.
You sound really tired.
It's really hot.
The manipulative woman who's deceiving or using her romantic partner in her cold, evil plots is a trope that dates all the way back to Lady Macbeth. Pop culture is full of conniving women like Cersei Lannister.
Are you freaking kidding me?
It dates way before Lady Macbeth. What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you retarded? Are you stupid? Ooh, it dates all the way back to Lady Macbeth, right? You know, the only unrealistic thing about Lady Macbeth, okay, and I've said this before, is that there is no fucking way that bitch would have committed suicide out of guilt. What would have happened is after all those men were lying dead on the battlefield, right? And her husband was killed, right? After she talked him into slaying the king, okay, for her own overweening ambitions, okay? If that had happened, she wouldn't have been like, ooh, out spot, out damn spot, right? And then jumped out of a fucking window. She'd have been like, hey, most powerful man who's still left standing, did I ever tell you how my husband abused me?
Yeah.
You know what? You're so sexy. But I feel so protected at the same time. Hold me, please.
Yeah, come on. That's exactly what she'd do.
Yeah, that's Shakespeare. Shakespeare's like, oh, you know, I can go halfway to describing women, right? But I can't go all the way. You don't go full woman, right? You never go full woman. So, as Robert Downey Jr. once said, oh wait, he said retard, but yeah, no, you never fully describe the amount of, like, and this is the thing, and Jordan Peterson says it all the time, is like, well, physical combat is kind of off limits for most women, so they have to figure out a way to be aggressive in the social and verbal spheres, right? That's just, so it's reputation annihilation and manipulation of proxies.
Yeah, so like a woman like that would not have ended by offing herself out of guilt.
No, she wouldn't have felt guilty at all. She'd have been like, oh yeah, well, you know, this guy's actually better looking than my husband, who's dead.
Yeah. But it's funny that they're like, so your understanding of literature stops at Macbeth, huh? You don't think that the Roman authors had a bit to say about manipulative women?
Oh, even just like, remember the what was it, the sex strike?
Yeah. About Greek.
Yeah. That what was that called? The oh fuck.
What this is like a case study in trying to sound erudite and just falling flat on your ass.
Yeah, no, but it's like okay, so there's like this this woman in Greece, and there's like all their husbands are at war with some other freaking bunch of people, and then she's just like, hey, all the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the married ladies, all the married ladies, right? Oh,
they
if
do
you
a
like,
sex strike.
should have put stopped going to war. But yeah, no, it was like she called upon all of the wives and all of the mistresses to just stop having sex with men, and then that way they could be like, okay, so now we're in charge now, and you're gonna stop this war because we're sick of it.
Mm.
I forget what the fuck it was.
Yeah, how likely was it that the thing is that in a lot of these tribals, it's women who are responsible for retaining the tribal grudges and teaching them generation to generation. So one wonders how much responsibility they had to actually creating it.
I know.
People
I
don't like talking about that. It's
I know they don't.
That's why we have such a problem getting rid of terrorists. We just don't recognize the role that women play in them in keeping them going. Because they're out there blowing themselves up. Okay, let us skip all the way to the end. Yeah.
All the way to the end?
Yeah, not all the way to the end, but it's like how will I describe where it is? Let me give you a time code. Just give me a second. This might take some time, so I need some give you a second time music. Let's see. All right, where are you?
You're saying that we should organize our societies
going
along
in,
the lines of the lobsters.
trying to find it. Oh, goodness. Sorry about this, guys. Okay, so where you want to go to is about 11:40. Let's play.
To play act as a fictional cool girl to keep her
Oh,
husband
yeah, no,
interested.
go back a little bit. 11:40. Not. Oh, is that 11:40? Sorry, then go 11. This is the most astounding conclusion that these people make, or this individual makes, if she wrote it herself and it wasn't written by a man.
Female character. That she's responding to men. The reason Amy is so good at manipulating people and plotting schemes is because she spent years forcing herself to play act as a fictional cool girl to keep her husband interested.
Okay, so essentially Gone Girl is about a sympathetic woman who goes psycho because she's forced to play the cool girl. Are you processing that? You have watched Gone Girl, right, Karen?
No.
The answer to that is no.
I understand the general plot, but I don't. What?
Okay, there is a huge contingent of feminists who defend the female protagonist or antagonist in Gone Girl, and she is an utter, unrepentant psychopath.
Yeah,
and she's not even a charming psychopath. That's the thing about men. They have to be charming and their targets have to be reasonable. Male psychopaths rapidly lose all audience sympathy if their targets are women, unless those women are Nazis or otherwise appalling. Okay? So in order to be a charming male psychopath, you have to keep your targets to men or really, really, really unsympathetic, immoral that nobody wants to defend, not Ilsa, queen of the Nazi death camps, right? And even then, Ilsa gets an off-screen death. So this woman was a sociopath. She was a murderer. She was a rapist. She was a domestic abuser. She was a control freak and gaslighter. She was absolutely, unapologetically horrifying. And the fact that the story ends with her having won and having entrapped her husband, who she was originally going to frame for murder, is, for anybody who has any sympathy for men whatsoever or can see them as a victim, it is the most gut-wrenching ending I have ever seen in my life. Like that man still occupies a place in my brain, a place of fear and terror that this guy didn't get out of that relationship with that woman. I still have a bit of trauma from that movie, and yet feminists some feminists, many feminists, seem to absolutely love the female character in it. And what they make the excuse that the pressure of playing the cool girl for men, which incidentally, a lot of us, I'm not particularly cool. I'm sort of a uptight, but a lot of women who classify themselves, they are actually being themselves. Okay? In fact, that's a big part of it. They are not being fake. They are enjoying being who they are, and who they are is liking things that men like, liking hanging out with men, and liking the way men talk and interact with each other. That is their thing. I personally don't like any kind of human interaction except with my husband and occasionally the people on here, and also my dog, which is not human. He's furry. But anyway, so
furries are human too, Allison.
Furries are no. Well, maybe sometimes. But okay.
Not if they're Kevin, because she's a psycho, but
yeah. All right. But my point is that these women want to be what they are. This woman is choosing to be that way in order to be deceptive. So essentially when they say, oh, she's under pressure of being a cruel girl to get men's attention, it'd be like saying that man had so much pressure as a narcissist in order to snag that woman into his web. Like he had to play someone he wasn't. Are you kidding me?
Okay. So are they trying to tell me that I watch every Zeducation video? Right? Meme review, emergency meme review, try not to laugh, that didn't age well, you laugh, you lose. Every week I watch every single one, right? Are you telling me it's because I feel pressure to watch things that I actually don't like watching?
Yes, that's what they're saying.
Yeah, and then I go and I watch like Salty Cracker, and I don't watch every video of his till the end because sometimes he goes a little over the top, but it's informative. Sometimes watch Count Dankula, sometimes watch Rageaholic, Razor Fist the Rageaholic. I watch these guys because I like their I like the I thought I liked the content, but now I have to actually ask myself whether I actually like it or whether I'm just doing it to placate my husband and my 6'5" gigantic son, who is a meme lord and who is also a meme lord and well, my husband isn't really a meme lord; he's a dad joke lord. But
no, you're doing all that because you just
I'm just trying to fit in.
No,
no, I'm not a narcissist. I'm just a poor woman who's trying to fit in.
Yeah. And and then all of the shit that goes down, and then there's also the hint that a cool girl is a faker who's going to slash your throat, kind of thing. So the pick-me's are dangerous to you, man. Yeah, right. No, this is ridiculous. She played that role because she was trying to hoover a victim into her life, like a freaking like the narcissist, like the sociopath she is. You can't then turn around and say, oh, but she had to play this role to attract a man, and that's oppression and justifies bullshit. That doesn't justify a damn thing. You guys are You're warped.
Yeah, right. No, on top of that, you don't have to do that to attract a man because, as far as I've been able to tell, right? It's a rare man who is going to say, well, I really like your short hair and your tiny ass. I could flip you over and call you Kevin. Right? Which made me, laugh out loud because it was pretty funny. You know, like it was.
Yeah, it was. Okay,
Yeah.
Brian. Let's do it. Because this, like I tell you guys, I know there's a huge part in the middle. Nothing happens in it. Nothing. Like, I don't know how these individuals can say so much and say absolutely nothing while doing it.
Cool girl to keep her husband interested.
I drank canned beer watching Adam Sandler movies. I ate cold pizza and remained a size 2.
But catering to a man's world has made her the perfect chameleon. So why are we so fixated on the trope of the lying, manipulative woman? In part,
That really
it's
went
because
over
having
their head, didn't it? Like, that totally went over their head. The resentment, the sense of entitlement, and the fact that she had her stupid rant about cool girls, and she was looking at a woman, and then she finds out that woman is actually not with a man, not trying to impress a man, it's just with her friend and just doing their thing. I mean, you didn't pick up on the fact that this is not meant to be a sympathetic thing that she's saying. Okay.
fully confront the culture that created the trope is too difficult and challenging. It's
Oh,
easier to
bullshit.
become fascinated by...
Okay, wait. What is the culture that created the trope? The fact that there are manipulative, evil women? Well, if you want to confront that, sure, get rid of them. Everybody will be happy. Like, I don't know. Okay.
challenging. It's
You want to say something, Karen?
No.
easier to
essentially
become
what-
fascinated.
Go ahead, Brian. Let's finish this.
The trope is too difficult and challenging. It's easier to become fascinated by individual women who somehow rise out of the system and enact their own will like some kind of magnetic quasi-supervillain. And it seems likely that will continue to happen.
And enact their own will. So you think that you can't enact your will unless you're a sociopath? Like, what world do these women live in? Go ahead, Brian.
I just want to. I know that there's echo, and I haven't figured out the problem with the sound yet. But I just wanted to tell you. Okay, I'll just tell you that the scenes they're showing are from. Some of the scenes are not from Gone Girl. They're from a series about the woman who started Theranos. They're also trying to make her sympathetic, and if you know that story, into a victim. So I just want to let you know it's not just they're using a bunch of examples of bad women, like the Theranos woman whose name I can't remember. That literally
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth Holmes, right? No.
Yeah, Holmes.
Okay. All right. So essentially, what they're doing is that they rise up that doesn't want people to defraud investors of millions, that doesn't want people to kill each other or rape each other. Yeah, these women are bucking the system. Yeah, they're real rebels. We should all rally behind. That's disgusting. Like, anybody who says this crap should not be part of a human rights movement.
Well, just the fact that they seem to think that, like, these women are victims of tropes as opposed to their own shitty behavior is, and you're looking at a situation where, like, they're using these fictional examples to, promote the idea that, well, Amber Heard just wasn't a perfect victim. Elizabeth Holmes was just not a perfect victim. Right?
Literally women who abuse women, and if they use Gone Girl, women who murder people, engage in sexual behavior that's extremely sketchy, and women who defraud are just not perfect victims. So what is the solution to make them perfect victims? Ignore the consequences of their actions or them as moral beings? Like, how can we simultaneously ignore women's moral actions and then believe that they have a superior morality?
Oh no, how can we, and this is one of the things, there was this person who left a tweet, and I forget what it was about exactly, right? But they said, y'all don't sound like you consider women persons. right? And I was like,
What, us?
no, not us, but whoever it was. I forget. I forget what it was. Something fairly recent in the news cycle, right? And people were criticizing some woman, and she said, "Y'all don't sound like you consider women people." And I was just like, well, people are flawed. People make mistakes.
Yes.
Sometimes people are bad. People are a mixed bag.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes people are, you know, are bad and good at the same time, and it's just a matter of what mood they're in that day, right? Like that's what people are like, right? People lash out when somebody doesn't deserve it. People, you know, they act out of charity sometimes when it's not deserved. Like all of these things are true of people. But this idea that women are pure, they are pure. They are basically gods. They are, and not the gods of the Romans, not the gods of the Greeks, not the gods of the Sumerians, right? Not the gods of the Babylonians, not the gods of Carthage, right? Not the gods of Sparta, right? Not the gods of the Norsemen, not the gods of the Teutons, right? Because they were all imperfect, right? Women are the gods of Christianity, and they're all Mother Mary.
Yeah. And if we don't regard all women as being Mother Mary, no matter what they do to men, then
or
we don't regard
to children or to other
children or
women,
society, then we don't regard them as being people. And it's not the woman's fault, it's the person thus regarding. Like what the hell? And then so the thing is that until we take a woman who spends her life raping 5-year-old girls, then butchering them and eating them alive, and we take that woman and say, but she's really not a perfect victim, that's why you want to put her in jail. Until that woman is, in our eyes, can't be seen as anything but Mother Mary, until we have scraped the bottom of the barrel to blame every man possible for her behavior and then crucify them, until we live in a society where we can.
Well, she just wanted to be the cool girl, Allison.
Yeah, she just wanted to be the cool girl. Until we live in a society that can take the most depraved female specimen on the planet and say, no, this woman is a victim. And that's what we need to focus on. Not her moral agency, not her horrendous choices, not her abuse of other people. What we need to focus on is the fact that she's a victim. Until we arrive at that moment, these people will believe that we live in a horrendous patriarchy that oppresses women.
Well, that doesn't consider women people. Like, and here, like, oh my God. Okay, there's this movie. Apparently, I only just heard of it like a few months ago, right? Because somebody was like, "Well, you're completely wrong about patriarchy and, you know, and all of this other stuff," right? Men literally hunt women. Okay? They literally hunt women and eat them and skin them alive and eat them. Okay? And I'm like, what the fuck you on about, bitch? Right? Okay? And so she's like, yeah, she's like, well, there was this movie called Flesh, right? And it had this guy called the Butcher, and he would hunt women and skin them alive and sell their meat to rich men so they could eat it. And I'm like,
that's a movie.
Like Okay, so what category of movie was this? Was it like speculative fiction? Was it like romance? Or was it horror? Was it horror?
Also, was it fiction?
Yeah, no, but it's like, was it horror? Was it it was fiction? Was it classified as horror? Was the genre listed? Horror, right? Designed to horrify. It horrified everyone. It obviously horrified you, right? That doesn't mean that it's indicative.
What?
If somebody wrote this movie, right? Okay, and produced it as horror, okay, then it's meant to horrify the audience, which means the audience is expected to be horrified by it, which means it's completely counter to the cultural norms that exist, right? Because otherwise it'd just be normal. You'd be like, whatever, like this is just like it's like I went to the M&M meat freaking counter and I ordered myself up some freaking flank of bitch.
Thought. Yeah,
right?
Flank of bitch. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and so like it's like, okay, so yeah. Oh, so we've established that it's horror, right? She's like, yeah, but it says something that a woman wrote it and a woman directed it and a woman produced it. And I'm like, what does that say? It says women are insane for thinking that this is even remotely normal.
Well, no, but they put it in horror, so I don't think they thought it was remotely normal.
Yeah,
they probably thought it was some sort of spiritual statement about how men make.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, no. And the historical patriarchy, and women have always been hunted, and men have always kind of consumed women, and blah, blah, blah. Right? And all of this shit, right? But all of this crap that you're just saying is evidence of patriarchy came out of the minds of women. Okay.
Yeah,
it came out of the minds of only women.
Okay, but
it wasn't some man who was like, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna write a movie where this guy hunts down women, skins them alive, and then sells their meat to rich clients with the help of his wife."
Okay,
no less, right? And and you know what? I think we should put it in romantic comedy.
Okay, all right. This is a delusion that
it is.
The take is presenting. It's like no, these are
then she's like, our uteri are owned because of The Handmaid's Tale. I'm like, The Handmaid's Tale is dystopian future fiction. Do you know what a dystopia is? It's a future, right, that we have not lived ever, right? It's horrific. It's horrible. It's like the zombie apocalypse, right? Nobody's hoping for it. Nobody wants it. Nobody's looking like, hey, let's see what we can do to bring that about, right? No, and that also came out of the brain of a woman.
Okay, and it also references a biblical story that is actually much more about the sexual exploitation of a man. Like the guy is raped multiple times in the story of Jacob, and we're just supposed to be like, yeah, that's and somehow
that is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. And somehow Margaret Atwood read that and said, "I see victimhood here
for women."
No, and I've pointed this out to people, and they're like, "Well, even if it's really accurate, it says something." Yes, it says you're a lunatic.
Yeah, no,
this is a delusion. This is okay. I read like some article from Victorian era where it said that women shouldn't read novels because they get too swept up in the idea that it's real. And I'm like, I think the Victorian psychologists might have had a point there.
Yeah.
With this crap, I'm sort of thinking, that they might have had a point because like your friend that you were arguing with, that's horror. It is
no,
fiction.
that wasn't a friend. It was a commenter.
I was being sarcastic.
In my interlocutor. Yeah,
the person you were interlocuting with.
Yes, she was absolutely sure that these two the movie and the series Handmaid's Tale, Flesh and Handmaid's Tale, were reflective of wider society, even though one is horror and the other is dystopian future fiction,
which is based on nothing from the Bible. It's not based on there's no biblical basis for the Handmaid's Tale.
No, but there's also no there's no historical legal basis for the Handmaid's Tale. There's never been a reproductive draft of women, right? I mean, there's always been there during certain times, right? Hitler, for instance, like if we're going to go there, right? He was like, "Hey, German ladies of fine Aryan stock, why don't you have 5 babies instead of 3? How about that? I'll subsidize it."
No, there were some breeding farms. Like they weren't. I don't think they were forced, but I'm pretty sure the Aryan ladies got to go there and have their pick of like.
Yeah, no, it was all voluntary. It was all voluntary, and it's like
and it's a real. I'm not saying that I'm sympathetic to Nazis, but you get to go to the camp, and then what you're doing is having sex with attractive men.
Oh, yeah, geez. No. The horror!
What a curse!
Right? Yeah. No, but it's like I'm looking at it, and I'm like, there's never been a draft of women into reproductive servitude by the government, right?
And believe me, if there was a choice between a reproductive draft and a draft, I'm pretty sure women would choose the reproductive draft.
Oh God, yeah. No, they intentionally get pregnant a month after they get deployed so they can come home.
Yeah, sometimes.
Well, I'm not saying all. Hashtag
no, I know you're not saying all times. I know I'm doing this. Some are like.
But it's not hashtag not all, but
let's put it this way. There's nothing stopping it, which is really ugly, because a man can get written up for a sunburn. But if a woman gets herself pregnant, because there are plenty of options to avoid it with a specific aim to get out of danger, that's an act of profound cowardice. That's what we would shoot men for. So they're not held to the same standard when they're in the army, and they should be.
Yep. No, okay. If you've put yourself out of commission as a man because you got a sunburn or you got a tattoo and you can't deal with with it, you can't wear your uniform properly because it's scabbed over and stuff, or maybe you broke your hand getting into a brawl, right, in the mess hall. Okay. You can be written up, you can be court-martialed, you can be kicked out of the military, right? Yeah, but if you're a woman and you're just like, this whole deployment thing, it's just really awkward and I don't like it, and it's like hot here, and there's no air conditioning, and I gotta live in a tent and shit, and like I didn't think this was how it's gonna be. Oh, I know. I'll fuck some guy and get pregnant, and then they'll just send me home and I can just be on light duty for the next 3 years on maternity leave.
And it's not that all women do this, it's that women can, and they do not get held to the standard of men.
That's exactly right. Because my sister never did that shit. She never pulled that shit. She left her 5-month-old daughter in the care of my psycho parents. And went to Haiti for 6 months. And my parents taught that girl how to behave.
Wow, that's really psycho. Okay. All right, let's finish this off, Brian.
You need a little wooden spoon in there.
By the way, guys, remember, we are doing the fundraiser for the month. So feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz. Let's just get one more $5 in the kitty. Can we do that? One more $5.
That would be
Feedthebadger.com / project / badger media blitz. Hey, Brian, have you got your sounds working?
No, I'm just gonna have to do this
okay.
afterwards.
Okay, all right. Well, let's finish this off.
Have to grapple with this hypothetical woman, especially as other celebrities respond to the Depp Heard verdict by suing their own accusers. But when it comes to real-world abuse, it's important not to let over-the-top entertainment dictate our appraisal of reality. Leave the fictions to the storytellers and listen to the facts.
Some argue that this verdict could have broader implications for the Me Too movement and discourage women from coming forward.
If you're new here, be sure to subscribe and click the bell.
Stop, Brian. Okay.
It's over.
Yeah, it's over.
Because they're telling you to subscribe, which I don't think I'll do, but yeah, listen to the facts.
You don't think the jury listened to the damn facts. You think the jury was watching like HBO instead of what was going on in the actual
courtroom. Yeah.
Courtroom. Like what is the point of this? First of all, it wasn't the public that made this decision, it was the jury. You think the jury was like, well, I don't know, but what about the Maleficent trope? You know, what about the evil, scary, what about the evil stepmother trope? Yeah, but what about Rapunzel trope? Yes, but what about the Sleeping Beauty trope? Yes, but maybe we should look at the Ursula trope. Like, no! Where do these people get off being so fucking, I don't want to say the word retarded. Your stupidity. Is it chosen or was it
Allison? Say it.
No, I am not saying it because I have seen people with special needs who use every ounce of their God-given brains to make their lives into something. They don't deserve to be lumped with these people. These people have chosen stupidity. They have chosen it, Karen. They have embraced it. They have given it a loving, moist embrace and brought it into their bosom and have decided that stupidity is their lifestyle, their life choice, their religion, and their God.
Okay, but is their bosom moist as well?
It's probably moist after they've deep-throated stupidity.
Yeah, because
please don't look at the comments. The comments are horrible.
Yeah, no, the comments are fine, but yeah, moist. Moist is not a word we use in erotic fiction.
You don't like the word moist? I've never understood why.
Nobody, no editor in the entire world of erotic fiction approves of the word moist. They also don't like ooze, and they don't like seep.
Oh, well, they definitely wouldn't like my fiction then.
Well, do you use those things to describe sexual activity, Allison? Because if you use them, because if you use them to describe gross stuff that's happening, right? That's supposed to be gross. Moist, ooze, and seep are great. They're like stellar words.
But what if you put gross stuff in the proximity to sexual things?
As long as it's not someone's vagina.
No. Okay. All right. So
you can maybe make the argument that the urethra of a man's penis seeps a little.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm going to give some thank yous before we get any further into YouTube jail. Mrs. Anne of Arc gives us $10. Thank you, Mrs. Anne of Arc. Marty L. That's all I'll say because I don't want to dox anyone. Gives us $5. Thank you, Marty L. Thank you for doing exactly what I asked for. I wish we had some like fireworks thing that we could give him. And then Jamie Vanderhoist.
Vanderhoist? That's not a name.
No, it's not. It has to be like some kind of pseudonym. Jay gives us $25. Thank you, Jay. And let's see if there's anybody else. Okay, come on, chug away here. And I think we got a super chow as well. So, where is it? I gotta find it. Let's see. I need some music that I can play. I need my submarine music.
No,
no,
you know what you need? You know what you need? You need the music from Last of the Mohicans, Allison, because you didn't even watch it all the way to the end.
I think
What is wrong with you? You don't remember? How can you not remember that movie? It's the best movie of all time. Full stop.
It's a good movie.
I'm willing to die on that hill.
I will try again. Okay, Hothead Studios gives $5 and it's $5 for the kitty. Thank you. The kitty says meow. Let's try again, and I think that might be it. So we have gone to the end. I know we skipped a lot in the middle, but trust me, guys, that middle is very saggy. It is a saggy middle.
Everybody's middle is saggy these days, Allison.
It doesn't have aggressive navel. Yeah, that's true. Like, people definitely are gaining weight on this coof diet.
Well, I'm just saying, you go through menopause, you put on a little weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, Brian, I think your echo is gone. So if you want to add anything.
Is it?
I know. Yeah.
I don't think it is, but.
All right.
No, maybe you mute, Karen, so he can actually talk, and I'll mute. And if you want to add anything to this.
All right. Do you want me to just close this out? Is that what you're asking?
Or if you have been dying to say something to what we've been doing.
No, I think I said what I wanted to say when I mentioned the Theranos thing. I was just paying attention to the clips they were showing, and they were basically all stories with either female antagonists or female protagonists who are based on actual women who did criminal shit. And then they're trying to like reframe them as like, oh, this is her perspective. I predicted that about the Theranos thing, by the way. When I saw the trailer for The Dropout, I was like, this woman is a criminal. She is, hopefully going to see a long, a lot of jail time. She screwed a bunch of people over, and they're going to make a show about it to make her look sympathetic and make her look like she's a victim and make it look like, she didn't make these decisions specifically to rip people off. And, but yeah, and of course, that's probably what they're doing. So.
Well, didn't she want to do the lab on a chip thing?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, it was a big tech thing.
It was absurd.
Yeah, no, like my husband, he worked in that field, nanotechnology and all of that. And he was just like, no, that's like 75 years away.
Yeah, well, of course. But, everybody was on the Holmes train because I think that a lot of it is because she is a woman in tech, and they were like, oh my God, let's back her up.
But you know what? You know what she did do? And this is the thing, is she kept her voice low, her tone, like her octave low, right? She dressed like Steve Jobs. She did not, other than the eye makeup, she did not highlight her femininity, right? And then she talked like this because, people who are serious have lower octaves. And people who are credible. And this is true. This is actually true. They've done studies on it. There's this one woman, she was like the most highly paid voiceover advertising actress in history, right? And it's because she had a voice, a speaking voice that was one octave lower than the typical woman, right? And you just trust, you listen to. It's like why you're in good hands with Allstate.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Yeah. No, it's because that's reassuring. It's a male voice telling you that you're safe, right? And so for any big ticket items, buying cars, like if it's like selling you laundry detergent or like Charmin toilet paper or whatever, they go with women because women are the people who buy those things, right? But when it comes to homes, cars, insurance,
Also
right?
bought by women, though.
Also bought by women, but
big purchases,
important purchases, they generally go with a man who has a low voice, right? Or a woman who has a low voice, which is why this woman was so sought after for advertisements. But, so I can understand if I was a con artist, if I wanted to con a bunch of people out of like millions and millions and millions of dollars, I would pitch my voice very low.
Mm-hmm.
I would speak very, very one octave lower than the last time I said, "What the fuck?"
I did notice that, for example, Camille Vasquez's voice is quite high.
Sure.
She sounds actually a little like a Valley Girl, like, Legally Blonde.
Yeah. No, that's fine, because you know what, that makes her sympathetic.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily, like, because nobody on the jury was being asked to pay millions and millions of dollars, right? They were just being asked to make a decision, so you can get away with that. And often, if you want to appear innocent and pure and all of that, you raise your voice like the mom on that 70s show, right?
Well, and the other thing is that when she went up against Amber, she didn't look like a threatening presence.
That's right. So it's like, when you actually look at all of these things, like, these are all like well documented in the psychological literature as effects of certain things, all the way from like 3 months old to 80 years old, right? If a command is given by a male voice that's deep, right, there's immediate attention from people who hear it 3 months old to 80 years old, right? They just automatically react to it. That doesn't necessarily mean they obey it. That just means that they notice
React to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, these are just differences that are instinctual and inherent. And these individuals want to make a huge deal out of them and make them into some kind of patriarchal oppression.
Well, they want to make them into a narrative of a narrative of a narrative. And it's just like, what? Like,
yeah. Okay. Nobody made a decision based on tropes. Tropes are only ever used to deny reality. And they're trying to facts were at Amber Heard's side. They were not. And what they're doing now is they're trying to appeal to tropes being somehow against women or oppression of women in order to say, oh, people didn't make a decision based on facts to find Amber Heard guilty. They made it based on I think not tropes. What they're going for was
stereotypes. Yeah.
And first of all, these aren't tropes. They're character archetypes. So that's a big, big mistake right there. I really don't think the manipulative girlfriend is a trope. I think it's it's better termed a character archetype.
Yeah.
Or a character stereotype. A trope is an actual how to describe a trope, huh?
Well, it's just
a trope is like an overused kind of like, it's almost like a bit of a straw man of an existing archetype that's overused and becomes cliche. So there probably are some like a Mary Sue is an example, I think. A woman who feels like, or a female character that feels like a self-insert that was put in by someone who wants to be a part of, it's based on that fanfic that somebody wrote about Star Trek. where this, female officer joins the team and she does everything really well and all of the men fall in love with her and and so it's not just like a woman who's really good at everything, although that usually is part of it, but it's like someone who was brought in specifically, to be admired by all of the established characters around her, and they're all very impressed and everything. And yet she is humble and, maybe even clueless about how awesome she is. Like she has no idea. So I think there is a difference.
I saved the world.
I bypassed the compressor.
The trope is any literary or rhetorical device as a metaphor, Okay, I'm going to show this to Karen, and Karen is going to pronounce. I put it in the live stuff.
Oh my god! Now I gotta go look.
Yeah, you gotta go look. There's another one. There is another one. Sorry,
Metonymy.
Metonymy. And then the next one. You can't pronounce that one.
Synecdoche.
Synecdoche. And irony that consists in use of words in their other than their literal sense. Well, I think that now it's being used more as the building blocks of fiction. So character archetypes are not the same as tropes. Tropes, I believe, would involve more of an action or a characterization as opposed to an archetypal character. So I don't know. It's a fine distinction, and I think that one that probably would need a different thing to explore. But I believe that these individuals are using tropes wrong.
Oh, synecdoche.
Synecdoche. Okay. Huh. Well, I learned something new.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. No. I just fed it into Google.
A storytelling device or convention. So.
Yeah. No. But there's always a storytelling device or convention, right? But like the whole idea of fiction is to like you use tropes when you need them, and then you like. Push it above the tropes, right? And turn them on their heads, right? And and like do a 180, and then you go back, right, to the trope, right? So it's like, I don't know. Like we want to hear the stories that we want to hear. That's why the Lord of the Rings is so popular. That's why, Last of the Mohicans is so popular.
It's a good movie
among everybody other than Allison, who can't even confirm that she watched it all the way through.
It's probably my favorite romance, to be honest. And I'm not even a big fan of romances, but Last of the Mohicans.
I can't be her friend anymore now. and the reason why, Brian, The Last of the Mohicans is your favorite romance is because that bitch earned his love.
Yeah, she did. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, she earned it, and so yeah, no, it was like those moments when he's like in the waterfall and he's like, "I will find you. Just survive. No matter what occurs, I'll find you. No matter how far." Right? No matter how long. And yeah, no, and I'm just like, that's totally fucking believable because that bitch earned his love. Right? And yeah, no. I was just like, yeah, no.
Well, you want to earn my love and
I don't want to earn nothing from you. Go play your Dungeons and Dragons. Or is the game over? Did they kick you out? What the hell? I'm on the air.
All right. Okay, let's get this back on
track.
Who
are you talking to? He says, I'm on the air.
Nobody used tropes to make a decision in this legal case. It's absurd.
No.
They're clutching at straws to try to excuse the fact that the abuser was outed and it was a woman. Okay.
Well, they're using
but if you're gonna say they use tropes, right? If they use tropes, right? It was with the acknowledgement that tropes sometimes reflect reality. Not always, but sometimes.
How
right?
about the trope of always believe the woman, or that men are
always
more
guilty,
likely
yeah.
to be abusive relative to women? How about those tropes? Why didn't they use those tropes?
No, but okay, but so if they used any tropes, it was a trope that is reflected in reality.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because sometimes women do lie, sometimes women do falsely accuse, sometimes women are abusive, sometimes. So they actually accepted that sometimes the trope
is accurate.
Is a trope because like it's used all the time in fiction because it actually happens.
Okay, so what you have for the abusive woman trope is she manipulates and she abuses. You know, she's emotionally abusive, or she's physically abusive, or she manipulates other people to do her abuse for her. So you have this trope, and you have certain character traits and behaviors that are encompass this trope. And what they did is they looked at the evidence of Amber Heard, and they said, "Oh, hey, she has behaviors consistent with this trope, which is the abusive woman trope. She must be an abusive woman." And now they're saying, "No, you decided she was an abusive woman because the trope exists." Well, does it work for male abusers too? You know, that his behavior is consistent with the abusive man trope, therefore he's likely to be an abuser. But no, you actually decided he was an abuser not because his behavior was in line with the abusive male trope, but because the trope itself exists. Therefore, there are no male abusers. Go away, feminism.
Yeah, well, the pattern, like it's about patterns of behavior, right? And people behave in predictable ways. They just do, right? You know, like even if they are unpredictable when you first meet them, they generally become predictable as you get to know them. And you know, like it's like, I'm sorry, but it's like not every single woman who's going to be sued by a Johnny Depp style plaintiff is going to be judged the way Amber Heard was judged, because not every woman is Amber Heard, right? Not every woman did what she did, right? And what I find interesting is like nobody wants to talk about the fact that all of his exes before Amber Heard came out and defended him publicly.
Except
and said,
for one.
Which one?
She never said he was abusive. She said he was jealous.
Well, jealous. Okay, sure. But okay, being jealous is not a crime. If it was, Borat would need to go to prison. But because he's jelly. But because anytime I pet Kevin, he's just like, he's right in there like a monkey on a cupcake. But yeah, no, like you have like parody. Oh God, what the fuck is her first name? Anyway, she came out and said, you know, like he's got his problems, but he was never abusive, right? Others were like, he's got his problems, but he was never abusive. This does not sound anything like the man that I lived with for years.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You know, it occurs to me that when you divorce women from the aspects of women's character from their actions, so you no longer recognize women as agents capable of harm and evil, but also capable of being decent and good. When you do that, it's almost like they enter a realm of like a twilight realm in which fiction becomes reality. Does that make sense? Like this fictional world becomes a real world, and they don't understand things like metaphor, or hyperbole, or the true nature of tropes. Like if tropes were used in this, it was the completely fatuous observation that the abusive girlfriend trope applies to Amber Heard because she is indeed an wife. So, yeah. Okay. You said nothing. But what you're trying to do is say that this trope exists and it denies the reality. Like,
yeah, it's a myth.
Trope,
it's not a trope, it's a myth.
Yeah, it's a myth that this doesn't actually ever exist. And the only reason why we see it is because we somehow made ourselves believe in this mythical idea that women are bad.
Yeah,
what a surprise that this nonsense
all the way back to Macbeth.
Yeah,
all the way back.
What a surprise that this nonsense has come out of a society that created the Virgin Mary. I'm sorry, I'm just going to lay it down there. I think that this is.
I don't mind the Virgin Mary. Okay.
No, but she is not all. She's not supposed to be all women.
Yeah, and I don't like how, you know, like in the Dead Sea Scrolls and stuff, right, and all of that, and the Mary Magdalene stuff.
Yeah, it's disappeared, but also that Mary Magdalene was prostitute, or may have been.
Sorry,
wasn't she also a prostitute? Like
she was a prostitute, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that sort of went bye-bye, and the other thing is that if Mary of the Virgin Mary was a true female hero's journey, she should have had temptations like Christ did. I don't know if she did. Please tell me in the comments.
Well, I'm pretty sure she boned some other guy other than her husband.
Yeah, but that's not in the actual mythos. Okay. All right, before we do anything more,
well, then how'd she, like, was it the knock-up fairy?
Yeah, it was the knock-up fairy. Literally.
Hannah talks about that, so... Anyway,
okay.
All right. Not to mock Christianity. I don't want to shit on Christianity.
It's light ribbing. It's like Monty Python ribbing of Christianity.
Yeah.
Which ironically, apparently the Christians were less upset over than any kind of joke made at the expense of the social justice warriors. All right. So feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz, or you can also send us a tip through feedthebadger.com/justthetip. But we do need to get that monthly fundraiser funded. We are a fair ways from the goal, so every bit counts. Every bit is appreciated. We only have 3 days left, so please do go there and put something in the hat. All right.
And if you do go to Just the Tip, make sure you insert no more than the tip, unless you have affirmative consent.
I think it's penetration, no matter how slight. So you even need affirmative consent for the tip.
No. I've had situations where it's like I'm like just the tip, and then he's like, okay, just the tip. And it's like you go beyond the tip, you know, I'm gonna have something to say about it. So
okay,
yeah. If it's just the tip, keep it to just the tip.
How the hell does anyone okay, never mind. Okay, Brian, take it away.
Okay, if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications so you know when our streams go live. Leave us a comment, let us know what you guys think about today's show, and most importantly, please share this video because sharing is caring. The more people we reach, the easier it might be for us to achieve our goals and reach more people, getting this conversation to spread farther and farther. All right, thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of the Rantzerker, and we will talk to you guys in the next video.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.